You are watching the Forex Preview video here at xm.com. I'm Cristina Marujos, and joining me today is investment analyst Mario Hadjikyriacos. We'll be looking at the upcoming Bank of Canada meeting this Wednesday. So many are optimistic that it will keep a neutral stance, let's say. So what do you think we'll see out of the meeting on Wednesday?
I completely agree with those expectations. So I think the Bank of Canada will definitely stay neutral this time around. So the economy is pretty solid, it's in a pretty good place. The labor market is tight, wages have finally started to pick up, inflation is actually above the Bank of Canada's target, and the latest business outlook survey from the bank itself highlighted that businesses are quite optimistic about the future. So there's really nothing to argue for the Bank of Canada to either to cut rates in the coming months. So I think that's what we'll see at this meeting.
Well, speaking of cutting rates, there's a lot of speculation that despite the global economic slowdown, the Bank of Canada will not cut rates, probably the only major central bank to do so. Now, is it too extreme to maybe even see a rate hike?
That's a tricky one. I think that, yes, a rate hike would be too extreme, and the main argument against it is the exchange rate. So if I'm the Bank of Canada and I start raising rates in a world where every other major central bank is cutting rates, that places a lot of upward pressure on the Canadian dollar. That's something you want to avoid as a central bank. You don't want a very strong currency because it pushes inflation down, it makes your exports less competitive. So I think the Bank of Canada will have to manage this at some point. They will have to, at some future point, they will either have to join in the more dovish rhetoric from the central banks or actually cut rates in the further future to keep the loonie from appreciating too much.
I see. And speaking of the loonie, it has been experiencing fairly good weeks lately. We also saw it experiencing year highs recently. So will it keep up the trend?
I believe so. It's actually the best performing G10 currency this year. It's up by more than 4% against the dollar, more than 6% against the euro. And I think there's still room to run higher. The Bank of Canada may indeed be the only major central bank that won't cut rates, at least this year. So that makes the loonie much more attractive if everyone else starts cutting. Now, the risk to that is trade and the Bank of Canada becoming more dovish to keep the loonie from appreciating. But those are both medium-term risks. I think that in the near term, there isn't much that can keep the loonie from running higher from here.
I see. Thank you very much for your insights and for joining me, Marios. And thank you for watching us at xm.com.